very exciting campaign, I think. It's a very important time in America's history. People said to me, why do you want to run for governor when you just ran for the United States Senate? And I said, and my answer is simple. It's the other side of the coin of federalism. We want to send people to Washington to understand that the federal government has a limited role to play in our lives, and it should work and operate within the four corners of the Constitution. And it has not, and it does not do that now. So in 2010, I think people around the country were successful in sending to Washington, constitutional conservatives. And while we had a vigorous primary in 2010, I think we can all say we're proud to have Kelly Ayotte as our U.S. Senator, and I'm proud to have her. But the other side of that coin is to make sure we have strong leadership at the state level, where the governors of this country say to the federal government, get back into the four corners of the Constitution, let us take care of our business, because after all, under the 10th Amendment, whatever we didn't delegate to the federal government is reserved to the states and the people. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the federal government's role in education, in health care, in business regulation of our states? It should be minimal, if nothing at all.
Did you hear about today's federal crime?
Which one?
The Leaky Leahy Fake Maple Syrup Act.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're making it a federal felony to sell fake maple syrup.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
No, it's a classic overregulation. We are so overregulated, and our businesses cannot continue to compete with the uncertainty out there, the instability. Our monetary policy is out of control. So let's start by saving this country by beginning at home, in our own states, making sure that our state is the best state in which to live, work, raise a family, grow a business. I think New Hampshire can be the destination location for business if we do a few things. One is, how about passing right to work?
Yeah.
Sending a message around the country that New Hampshire stands for employee freedom of choice. That's what this is going to be about. We have to also look at our regulatory structure in New Hampshire. We're overregulated. I'd say let's put a moratorium on any new regulations from the get-go, and let's start looking at every regulatory structure and deregulating our businesses. We don't need to have the kind of regulatory system that we have in New Hampshire. As governor, if I'm your governor, I'm going to be a leader. I'm not going to be somebody who's going to sit back in the corner office, go to ribbon cuttings, wait for bills to come through, and then let them pass without my signature. I commit to you that I will either veto or sign every piece of legislation that comes to my desk. That's an important leadership. It's important for the governor to feel responsible to enforce the laws that are passed. That means you need to understand what they are. And likewise, if you think there's something coming through that it's not acceptable to the people, that you can't enforce, that you don't agree with, then it's your obligation to veto those bills and let the legislature rework them or bring them back to the fore. But I have a suspicion that with this kind of Republican leadership in the House and the Senate, I think we'll be working with them very closely, hand in hand. There will be very few veto opportunities, a lot of opportunities to pass good legislation for New Hampshire. As far as regulations are concerned, too, I think one of the greatest threats to New Hampshire, as well as the country, is the federal takeover of health care that's represented by Obamacare. Our state should be one of the 26 states, should be the 27th state. We should have been the first state to sue on Obamacare. And so one of the first things I'll do as governor, if I have the honor of serving, is to tell the Attorney General to join that suit. And if the Attorney General refuses to join the lawsuits and bring suit against the federal government on behalf of the state of New Hampshire, I'll bring it myself. I know how to write a complaint. I know how to and I know lawyers. Come on in.
Come on in and get a seat. You get room.
There's such thing as self-help in government, and that's one of the things I'd be involved with. And then I would want to demand of the federal government to look at block granting Medicaid and Medicare dollars so that we as a state can distribute those federal monies to make sure we're covering senior citizens, the disabled, and those who are in a very unfortunate situation and then are eligible for Medicaid. Why is it that we think that people in Washington know best how to treat our patients in our state, educate our kids? We need to get off of the dependency on the federal government. We put a man to the moon by the end of the 60s. We didn't have a Department of Energy. We didn't have a federal Department of Education. We didn't have an EPA. We didn't have any of this stuff. And yet we put someone on the moon. Unbelievable, isn't it? Think about it. And think about this. 50 years ago, our president, during his inaugural address, noted, number one, that America was exceptional because we're based on the radical proposition that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God.
Amen.
That's what that president said, and then he exhorted the people, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That president was John F. Kennedy, a Democrat. And where have we come in those 50 years? We've allowed this growth of government to go almost unchecked. And we have no one to blame but ourselves. It is high time that we take control of our own destiny by taking control of our cities and towns and our state and weaning ourselves off of the federal government. And then making our state, again, the most attractive place to do business, to live, and to work. And we need to stand for freedom and liberty. And one of the things that I've told people is that I believe in people first. So when it comes to rules, regulations, or legislation, if the government is putting itself in the position of judging people, then I say I presume that people are going to make the right decision. They might make mistakes, but in the end they're going to make the right decisions. We're the state that allows people to ride motorcycles without helmets. And now we're the state, thanks to this legislature, that's allowing people to defend themselves where they find themselves.
Right.
They make the decision. The people do. The presumption is that they're going to make the best decision, whether to retreat or defend themselves. And that goes all across the board in terms of how we should be as a people. And that's the New Hampshire tradition. I'm a fourth-generation Hampshire native, the son of New Hampshire farmers, mill workers, and dentists. Of course, growing up the son of a dentist isn't no character, as some of you have heard before. Growing up with a name like Ovide. And I've been granted my backbone. I want to be someone who's going to be an advocate for the citizens of New Hampshire. And I will commit to you all this, that yes, I'm a Republican and I'm conservative. But if I have the honor of serving as governor, I'm going to leave my party label at the State House door. I'm going to go into the governor's office and be the people's governor. And be the people's governor who will take the calls of Democrats, Libertarians, Vegetarians, whoever they are. If people need help, I want to be an advocate for the people. We'll work with the legislature, but there's a management responsibility that the governor's office requires. And I want to be a manager for the people, and that's accessible to the people. So I need your help to get our message out. We're doing very well so far. We've released about 325 names of citizens around the state who are business leaders and law enforcement, educators, legislators, and all walks of life, really, who are willing to stand up with me now. We've got no staff yet. We've got a website. It's friendsofovid2012.com. We have some little donation forms you can fill out, little envelopes. You can put some money in if you like to on the way out, or you can get online even at Mike has set up his computer with the website on
Yeah,
it.
the host will circulate among you afterwards. We've even got an iPad with the website on it.
So you can sign up right now.
As well as at the kitchen computer there.
There you go. And this is going to be a very exciting time. You know, I was preparing to run for governor for several weeks before September 19th when I announced. And during that period of time, I fully expected, as most citizens did, that Governor Lynch would be running for re-election. And on the Thursday before September 19th, something funny happened on the way to my announcement, which is the governor announced he wouldn't seek re-election. So the landscape has changed, but the objective and the strategy has not. And that is to build the best grassroots team in New Hampshire that we can possibly build between now and the primary of September, and ask people to sign up and be with us. Raise the resources necessary, the financial resources, to be able to advertise, defend against attacks that you know are going to come. The Democrats want to keep the seat, and the National Party is going to be very involved from the Democratic side to try to undermine our candidates and undermine me specifically, because they know that I am going to be a leader for the people of New Hampshire. I'm not going to be someone who's going to be beholden to the special interests. And they actually depend on the special interests, that organized party. I'm fortunate that we've had a lot of Democrats already who are willing to sign up for my campaign. And so we're going to try to continue to develop that grassroots organization so that hopefully the people who sign up with me now and through the course of this election process will say, I'll be ready to be with you and be your eyes and ears when you're the governor of the state of New Hampshire, because I cannot do this alone. And I want to know the business people and the leaders of the communities around this New Hampshire. If something happens, if I need some information, and I want to continue the network that we build going forward. So there's a lot to be done. I feel good about it. Betty's 100% behind me. And we're empty nesters now, so what else can we be doing but traveling to New Hampshire and running for office again? So thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you have some questions, I'd be happy to answer.